Hi guys, welcome back to another Daily Tarot card. These are your Daily Tarot cards for Monday, December 19th, 2022. Today we're pulling from the Maccabee Tarot cards. We have the Seven of Bones and the Forest Daggers. So I feel like rejuvenation. I feel like not taking the higher ground in situations where you're thinking with your shadow self. We are heading into a new moon on the 23rd, and it also is the first day of retrograde. So some people are saying it's going to start in January. Some people, I've seen it the 23rd all the way to I think the 15th of January. So everyone's going to see different. I'm going to follow my intuition with this. Hopefully I'll be able to put my forecast and projections up. I can understand where the hustle and bustle gets, but it's like, don't try to get in your head too much, and whenever you can nap or rest, definitely take that time, says me as I'm yawning. But we have the hair here where it says the magician. And I feel like through this cycle, because you do see the moons on either side of this, I feel like through this cycle, it's like use your higher levels of thinking. You know what I mean? Like we usually see the yellow hue behind the magician, and I feel like it's like you have the experience to get through this situation. They're touching on some trauma from the past, and I definitely understand this, like generational trauma where we try to break it so it's like our children aren't affected by it. And it's like you try tooth and nail to sit there and make sure that that doesn't repeat itself. But it's just like somehow that freaking garbage sneaks right into it. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, I thought I did an amazing job waiting for a great partner and avoiding that situation, and unfortunately it still crept in. You know what I mean? So my children know what loss is at a very young age. They know what, that feels like, you know what I mean? And it's unfortunate, it's something I tried to protect them from. But, that's one thing in life. It's like, even my said that. He's like, you say the word death and it has no weight until you lose someone. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Until you actually experience sometimes, unfortunately, you don't really understand the gravity of how much something can hold. You know what I mean? So it's just like making the most of it out of every situation as you move forward, you know? But they are talking about, with no harm to none, some inheritance here, some generational inheritance, but they do mention trauma here. So, don't want to mention one without the other, but with no harm to none. But I feel like, this could be, they're showing with both cards the head chakra. This could be you leveling up. I was definitely, tired, and it's just like I was getting a lot of channel messages last night. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, okay, so it's like paying attention to those, and seeing where that comes in, where it's just like, for me, I'm grateful for it. It's just like, we had some of the conversation and something I wanted to know. I'm glad he told me what he told me. But it's just like, you can't help but feel a certain way about it. But it's just like, you know what? I'm not going to sit there and let that ruin everything. It's like, it's unfortunate, but it's just like, at least, me and him can have those conversations now. Maybe I'm ready for them now. And I feel like that's where the magician comes in. I feel like that's where the crown chakra of the 10 of crystals and the 9 of cups comes in. The 10 of crystals has been that unconditional love, but it's just like sometimes we want that truth about how loved ones have passed, especially when it's tragic. But it's like when we're ready for that information, it's like, do you really want to know that? Do you really want to know? And then when it's just like, how do you feel about it? And you're just like, kind of like, okay, it is what it is. So it's just like for myself, it's just like, okay, I was going to do forecasts and projections. I was feeling tired, but it's just like, I forced myself to cut my son's hair. You know what I mean? So he's ready for the holidays, for pictures and all that good stuff. He likes to look all nice and sharp. You know what I mean? Both of them do. So it's just like one's done, got to do the other ones. You know what I mean? But it's just like they wanted to go see Christmas lights. So we went out and did that. And I'm glad we did it. It was a lot of fun. I love the fact that my mom's car is so toasty. I was like, oh my God, I want to sleep in your car. I came back, scooped out the driveway, came in, and I was just like, well, it's a little later now, so, try and get the forecast and projections done tomorrow for Mercury retrograde. So, I just feel like in this low energy, just protect yourself, do a meditation, um, you know, watch who you're giving your energy to, watch who you're hanging around. I just feel like with the 7 of bones, instead of taking the higher ground, it's like, ooh, I could do this. Someone, tries to cross us and it's like, ooh, I would do this. I would do, it's like, yeah, it's a thought, but it's like, don't make permanent decisions out of temporary emotions. You know what I mean? I love the fact that the bat is hanging upside down because that's how they sleep. But it also reminds me the hangman is like changing your perspective. It's just like, you know what I mean? It's just like, this is just temporary emotions because we're upset. They're saying the word bitter. I don't know if so much people are bitter. It's just, aggravated, but they're saying the word bitter. So loss of ambition. So it's just like sometimes this time of year, I find like it's more like after Christmas where people are like, until they get that first paycheck, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so broken, da da da. But it's like, you know what? You made a lot of memories. You know what I mean? You put a lot of smile on people's faces. You probably donated to a lot of charities. You know what I mean? So it's like you brought in a lot of joy. You know what I mean? And that's you know what I mean? I'm not saying you bring a lot of joy, you're broke now. But it's like, as soon as that first check comes in, get right back onto it. If you're able to, and you shopped early, get back onto it now. Don't break that habit. Get into it. Pay your bills, like be responsible. Don't skip your bills. You know what I mean? Because that'll just bite you later on. And then you'll be like, oh my gosh, So it's like how Spirit was saying, you'll get some financial money, but it's just like, don't spend it in one area. Pick up your weapon and fight. It isn't the time to surrender. So like you literally see with the 4 daggers, it's like this is not a rest and rejuvenation time. For some, they're lucky enough to have this week off where they take the week off and they bake. Maybe they're the hostess of this year, so they take that time to bake. Some people take this week off and do their Christmas shopping. This is where all the deals come out. Like, I kid you not, I used to go to the mall with my one girlfriend there, and we would go to the mall like practically like every Friday, I guess, or every Saturday, like just something to do, get out of the house. And we didn't even buy anything. We just walk around and window shop. Maybe she would try some clothes on or something like that. Or, we'll buy a little something small, but nothing crazy. And it's just like, you would see like, now 50% off, now 75% off. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, if I would have waited, I could have got 75% off. But I know how this usually goes. You sit there and you're like, oh, I'll buy it Boxing Day. Oh, I'll buy it this day. And you go back and it's gone. So it's just like, it's like, yeah, whatever. I honestly, I like my sanity. Even when the odds seem to be against you, you're not going to lose this battle. So I feel like this is encouragement. It's like, there's some wrestlings going on. I remember doing a reading for someone, I think, was it this summer? No, last summer. I think it was 2 summers ago. And now things are knocking, and I'm just like, And I got reminded that today, like, you know what I mean? And I've been dreaming about someone lately. So I just was like, remember when I did your reading and they talked about this? And they're just like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. So it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, let's just be prepared. You need this pain to make you stronger, and your perseverance is going to pay off. So keep hacking away. So I feel like also like, this time of year when they're talking about like, the new moon, it's just like, believe in yourself. Don't make permanent decisions out of temporary emotions. But also like they're saying, if you feel like sleeping, sleep. Honestly, like, especially if you're someone like me where it's just like when I sleep, I'm out. But it's just like if something is there, you know what I mean? And I don't regret it because it was just like, who I got the channel messages from, I'm just like, I'm totally cool with it because it's someone I would love to spend more time with. You know what I mean? So it's just, to me, it's a gift. I'm tired, but I don't, you know what I mean? It's just, everything's just happening at the worst time because it's just like we're literally having a snowstorm come in, and the way that the traction is going, it's missing us, thank God. And I'm like, oh, that's fine by me. You know what I mean? Because it's just like, my person that used to, do the snow throwing thinks he's building an empire here and trying to use manipulative tactics, and I'm just like, you know what, I trust God will take care of this situation. I trust that things will work out. I'm not going to have a panic attack about it or anything. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, you know what, even if I have to do it myself and it takes me days to do it, I don't care. You know what I mean? It's just like no one's going to shake me down. Sorry. So I feel like it's just like, going through things. But for me, it's just like, I'm not who I used to be. It's just like, you know what? Well, I'll find a solution. And even that gentleman that came to put the rayon machine in the basement told me that. He goes, you're a determined person. He's like, you will always succeed because you never take no for an answer. I'm like, no, I don't. Especially if I want something, I'm determined. You know what I mean? And it's just like, that's who I am. I will keep going. I will, that didn't work. I'll try something else. Like, That's why I like having a plan A, B, and C. Like, that's why I don't like having things in my control where it's just not even so much control, it's just like solutions. I'm a problem solver, you know? I even do that like in both my everyday, well, one I'm passionate about, the other one is just, it is what it is, but it's just like I like to solve problems, and when I can't, it's like it's infuriating, but it's just like at the same time it's like I will try my very best in everything I can do to make sure we resolve this situation. You know what I mean? So burnout. So remember they said like picking up the sword with the seven of bones. You've dealt with a lot of trauma and mental anguish, so your mind needs time to rest and recover. It's okay to step back, allow yourself to heal. Do what you can to remove yourself from the things that cause you pain and and focus on your recovery. So definitely with myself, it's just like with me, it's just like watch a comedy. Like I kid you not. I guess I watched it too many times now. They had Schitt's Creek, and I think it's on the Comedy Channel, and it's like 2 episodes every day. And I just like watched it, and then I caught it like right near where he about to get married, David and Theodore or Ted. No, not Ted. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forget their names, but it's just like Patrick. I just remember Moira can never pronounce his name. Now I'm like, what's his name? When Patrick and Patrick are about to get married. So it's just like, I watched it, and then I would be sitting there on the weekend. I'm like, why did I binge it so much during the week? I'm like, I should have waited. I could have savored it on the weekend. You know what I mean? And now I have so many episodes on here, I'm deleting them because I'm just like, I've watched it so many times. I'm like, ugh. But it's just like when I need a good laugh, I have it on, I have it on there. It's just like, sometimes you just need to laugh. That's what you should do, honestly. If this time of year puts you in a funk, find, a series that you really like that makes you laugh. Honestly, it'll totally change your mood. So in the book, this card is a yellow, like not the actual card itself, but the background of the card. So the Magician, readiness, creation, preparedness. The Magician lies on all the tools in front of you and tells you you're ready. It's time to release your self-doubt and barrel on ahead and have everything you need to succeed in this endeavor. I love the fact that it's like the 10 of crystals and the 9 of cups and the way that the mind is coming apart, but I don't feel like this is like you're losing your mind. I feel like this is leveling up. I feel like, even for myself, it's just like, having those channel messages, and then I was in this like I was getting a reading done by indigenous peoples, and it's like they were telling me about Shane, and they talked about, we see this, and I said, yep, that's correct, it happened this way. And he goes, one day you'll be more powerful than me. And I was just like, what? It was just like my mom was there. It was, you know what I mean? It was just, it was deep, you know what I mean? So it's just like, that's where I feel like for some of us that actually, go deep into this stuff, is like you're going to get even more potent. And I think it's going to be more called for the next 4 years, because it's like the world's going to be at this kind of loss of chaos. And it's just like we're going to need, people to keep us grounded, to keep us sound, to give us hope. You know what I mean? I literally was read that on Instagram before I started filming the daily for Monday. And it was just like the reason it's hard for us to let go of love is because there's a small part of us that still hopes. You know what I mean? And it's even true, but it's just like, even when you're like, ourselves, I know my kids are like still going through it more than myself, but it's just like, you sit there and you're like proud of yourself of how far you come. And I'm still proud of myself for how far I come, but it's like, it just takes something small like that and it just pulls you right back into all of it. You know what I mean? But I just like, when I woke up and I'm like, I don't regret any of it. I'm like, I don't regret that dream. I don't regret being tired. You know what I mean? It's just like, I'm grateful for it. Maybe this is just like now, like some of the things that he said, it was just like, things I needed to hear, or just like confirming, like even when I said to someone, I said this is what I see before I had the coroner's report and everything. And it was just like, it confirmed it, but it's just like, you know what I mean? Just talking about things, that I already knew, but it's just like other things that I didn't know, so it's exhausting. You know what I mean? Like, I never want to compare myself to anyone, not even compare, but it's just like to compare the exhaustion, like the physical exhaustion you feel. And I just never want to insult anyone. It's like, that's how I feel after. It feels like after you shoveled a driveway. That's how heavy I feel sometimes. It depends who I'm reading for and how long I've read for them. But, it's like when I do a live, I definitely feel that heaviness after you shovel a driveway. It's just like, oh my gosh, you definitely feel it in your shoulders and your back. Everyone's like, oh, that's your posture. I'm like, well, you're not really concentrating on your posture when you're channeling things, So it's just like, I never want to take away anyone's thing being like, oh, mine's more, X, Y. No, that's not what I'm saying. It's just like, just trying to be like, if I could compare it to anything, I would compare it to that. And shoveling the driveway is one of them. But I feel like they're saying with the 7 of Swords and this 4 of Daggers where the burnout is here, I feel like it's like when you're on break, because this happened to me last year. It's like, do not feel guilty for being on break. You worked your bloody ass off this year. Excuse my language. You deserve to put your feet up. You deserve. They're showing Bailey's. That was one of I would say that was his favorite drink, Canadian Club and Bailey's. I feel like, no, Crown Royale. It's a hard one between the two, but Crown Royale I know he loved above all. But it's just like, they're showing Bailey's. It's like whatever beverage or edible or plant you're indulging in, it's like, as long as you're doing it safe, you're not hurting nobody, including yourself, don't get blackout, pissed out, drunk. It's just like, indulge, relax your muscles, even they were showing on Bob Hart's Abishola, the aunt took her sister to the movies, and she goes, what the nice thing about movies is? You could sit in the dark for 2.5 hours and forget about everything, and that's how I felt about Wendy Williams when I was going through it, when I was packing up our house that we shared with Shane, that we worked so hard to get to, you know what I mean? And it's just like packing it all up, and you sit there and you turn on Wendy Williams and it's just like she kikis and she, she's shady, and you're just like, wow, I can't believe she said that. But it's just like, for that hour, you got to escape, like, I got to escape that reality. You know what I mean? I started watching Friends, I was just like, what? At least for a half an hour, I could skip, I can forget about everything that's going on around me. It's just like, sometimes your brain just needs a rest and a rejuvenation. So while you're off, even if, I don't care if you just lay on the couch and binge watch your favorite show, put your feet up and say, I worked my butt off this year and I deserve this rest and rejuvenation, because they're saying there's burnout here. It was just, they were showing like, if you're hosting this year, ask people to bring things in, that's what our family does. This one brings this one. I just give it all to my mom. I shop and I'm like, here, store it at your house. She's like, what? And I'm like, store it at your house. And she's like, okay. I'm like, if you don't, I'll probably eat it. So she's like, okay. So she takes it. And it's like, I don't have to worry about, one less thing I have to worry about bringing with me. You know what I mean? But it's just like, all of us come up with a game plan. You get this, you get this, you get this, and it all works out. So with the 10 of Crystals, inheritance, family, wealth. So with no harm to none, and so it is, it's like, you got to be careful with this, because even the look of, on her face, it's just like, is this because someone passes away? And it's just like, no amount of money can ever make that right. Generations before you scraped and saved to build a nest for you. You are soon going to see that coming to your way. With inheritance can bring a heavier baggage of generational trauma. So that's where it's like, you got to be careful here with the 7 of Boons, that shadow side, the 4 of Daggers, burnout. It's like, how much do you want to get into this garbage? You know what I mean? Difficult family ties and loss. It also provides an unexpected financial gain and all the comforts that are included. But sometimes it's like, is it really worth coming from this, piece of garbage? It's like, is it really worth coming from that? No. If someone's caused you trauma, it's like, doesn't matter how much they give you. That trauma is always going to be with you. Doesn't matter. You have your dream home, You know what I mean? And it's just like that, you know what I mean? It's just like when we buy ourselves stuff. It's just like, yeah, it brings temporary happiness. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's temporary. This is where we gotta, this is why I'm like nipped it in the butt. And it's just like, we gotta deal with this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it brings you sadness. This happened, this happened. Let's get those emotions out. Let's get the rage out. So it doesn't affect you the rest of your life. So you don't have to carry, like, I know they'll always have, those triggers in them, but it's just like, you know what? You had a lot of good people around you that love you and preoccupied you and tried to make that realization as just traumatic as possible. They did everything they could to make you as happy as possible, and it's in a crappy, poopy situation. You know what I mean? So it's like going places and, seeing people and doing adventurous things and, like, seeing that smile on their face. Like, that, like, looking at old pictures and seeing those smiles on their faces, it's just like, that is what we did it for. You know what I mean? Is to give them that joy for that moment, for that time that their mind was preoccupied with everything else. It's like, that's what you want to bring to your kids, especially when they go through something like that, So 9 of Cups, luxury, earthly joy. You've worked hard and you've loved harder. You've labored mightily to create a good life for yourself and those around you. And now it's time to enjoy the benefits. And that's what I feel like this is about. A lot of people take time at this time of the year and they labored their freaking butts off because they know they're working towards this weekend, and it's just like, that is the payoff. That they're with their family, they can put their feet up, they don't have to worry about anything because everything's been taken care of. Take a moment to indulge yourself or pursue something you believe will truly make you happy. You deserve it. Yes, truly do whatever that makes your heart, sing. For me, it's like, I'm so excited to, technically Hanukkah starts tomorrow. And it's just like, I am so excited for that. It's just like, you know what I mean? We don't do the present thing. Like, I wanted to do it this year, but then it's just like, it was just like a little thing, this. So I'm just like, hopefully next year I can do it. But it won't be anything crazy. Like, it'll be like socks or something like that. You know what I mean? Maybe a little something, little some things that would, put a smile on their face. Like, nothing crazy, but you know what I mean? But it's just like, for me, it's just like that light. And it's a great reminder. And it's coming at the most perfect time before the new moon and retrograde, where it's just like, you know what? Even if there's the dimmest light, it's like it will get brighter and brighter and brighter. You know what I mean? So I pray that this generational trauma or this like inheritance, they're talking about loss, I will honestly tell you, it does not change anything. It's just like, you always will have that sense of loss. You will always, not always, it's just, it gets duller as the years go by, but it's just like, you know what I mean? I don't know if it's from childhood or what, but it's ingrained in myself. I know it's ingrained in my sister. You know what I mean? So it's just like, whatever happens, it's just like, as long as, honestly, if you're making yourself happy, you're making the ones around you happy, you know what I mean? It's from a place of positivity. I see nothing wrong with it. Like I said, enjoy your Christmas cheer, but it ain't going to make that situation any better. It'll still be there once you sober up. And you'll have a pounding head again. You're hung over. And your body will hate you. But it's just like, you deserve this time off. You deserve this break. Have a good time. Be safe. Be merry, and don't let anyone try to destroy your happiness. So I hope you guys enjoyed these daily tarot cards for Monday, December 19th, 2022. May the universe bless you good. We'll see you for the next daily tarot card.